Have you guys watched The Terminator? I bet you have, and the one key takeaway from that movie was that machines will one day take over humanity. Today, that idea translates itself into AI taking over, and visionary tech guru Elon Musk did warn us of the dangers of AI. A video released recently alleging that scientists have been killed by weaponized robots have made the rounds on social media. In this video, we'll talk about the video and if it holds any merit, so stay tuned. Alright, so in this video we see a woman standing and delivering a speech from her notes. The news she is about to make will create some powerful wave all across the media, social media, or otherwise. Specifically, she alleges that a top robotics company in Japan, robots designed for military applications, have targeted and killed 29 scientists in the lab. And if that news was not disturbing enough, she goes into further details. The woman alleges that even though the workers were able to decommission 2 of these robots and ripped apart the third one, the 4th robot refused to be put down. This robot began powering itself back and then started downloading instructions from an orbiting satellite on how to rebuild itself more strongly. Okay, this is some scary stuff, and if this doesn't keep you up at night and power down your Alexa, then I don't know what will. Artificial intelligence has long been rumored to have some devastating consequences for humanity. The idea is so deeply interwoven into popular culture that it really does not demand critical thinking on how any of this would actually happen. But today in the video, we're going to be doing exactly that. We will take a deep dive into this and determine if AI is legitimately trying to take over mankind. So for those reasons, let's try to figure out who that lady in the video is. So her name is Linda Moulton Howe, and she has had a career in journalism. She's a graduate from Stanford and is a former Miss Idaho and has won tons of awards for her work on the TV stations of Denver, Atlanta, and Boston in the 70s and 80s. But here's the interesting part. She's also a famous conspiracy theorist and a UFO expert. This has been confirmed by famous ufologists like Ike Bishop, who said that Linda is perhaps the most preeminent UFO investigator in the world. So, does that make her report inauthentic by association? Not exactly. It does show that the reporter does not have the kind of credibility as a regular investigative journalist, since she's into conspiracy theories, but maybe she did have her hands on breaking news. Just to make sure we are on the right side of things, we will try to analyze the video itself too. Now, this speech first came to the media's attention in February of last year and has been viewed more than 100,000 times on Twitter in a single week. So, if we just think about this video, it's really a tough pill to swallow, because killer robots, isn't that a bit too much Hollywood? But maybe this is a top-secret project gone horribly wrong, so we cannot really say. Linda seems to think so because she's basing it all on a phone interview she conducted with an individual who claims to be a CIA insider. The insider claimed that this was serious stuff and that this is not some stuff we'd likely read in the papers one day. So is there any merit to what Linda disclosed in her hour-long presentation? Well, for one, the entire conversation did not involve any specifics. For instance, there was no mention of the company itself or where it was located specifically in Japan. All we know is that it was a top robotics company based in Japan. That is way too broad. Another glaring omission is that there is no source. We do not know for sure who broke that story to Linda. Was it an undercover CIA official or a whistleblower from the same company or somebody else? If we do not know where that information came from, then it might as well come from a prankster who wanted to see how the story caught fire on social media. Also, that presentation was not all about the imminent existential threat of AI, but it was all about the alien encounters, abductions, and alternate dimensions as well. Okay, now that means that this story is only a piece of what she really presented. And in all of that extra information, Linda does not tell us about the identity of the corporation, the personnel involved, and what the project was called, or who were the scientists involved. That does not bode well for the validity of this report, now does it? But one can always make the argument that the company in question did not want this report made public. Yet this report would have found some semblance of credibility away from scientists or investigative reporters who would have smelled something fishy and reported some people missing. Yeah, there were no scientists reported missing during that time period mentioned in the report. Now let's get back to where this story was actually placed in Linda's overall presentation. This nugget of information was conventionally located in the start of her presentation and served as an attention grabber more than a factual report. Without going into specifics, Linda then veered off into alien encounters. In a later story, and as part of the interview, Linda gave us more details about her mystery informer. She claimed that her source would only respond to her in short texts or 30-second phone calls because she was being monitored very closely. She also made no handwritten notes of her conversations with him and revealed that the source himself was not a witness to the massacre. This was merely something which her source had found information on during his contract work with the unknown corporation he was working with. Taken as a whole, this report itself is a third-hand information account, which is devoid of any actual evidence and is nothing but an attention-grabbing story. But wait a second, then does this mean that the warnings by the tech gurus of today are without merit? Elon Musk, for instance, has publicly stated his fears of AI one day ruling over humanity. Specifically, he said that AI would one day be a real threat to humankind because AI is progressively getting more smart than humans. He also said that we need to be very careful about the advancement of AI. Now, Elon Musk is not a conspiracy theorist. He is perhaps one of the more pragmatic idealists of our age, with him championing the EV market sector with his Tesla brand. He is also taking the lead in interplanetary excursions into space with SpaceX. SpaceX has partnered with NASA to develop reusable space vessels, which will dramatically bring down the costs of interplanetary travel. Musk was also one of the founding partners of OpenAI. OpenAI has very recently been making the rounds on social media with their ChatGPT model, which has the capacity to produce human-like essays. It is so successful that it's been incorporated in the Bing search engine. So maybe Elon Musk does not know what he's talking about. Take this report from the Human Rights Watch back from 2012, where they have raised concerns over killer robots. The organization warns us that the dangers of autonomous killer machines that can have the capacity to make independent decisions on the battlefield in the near future. This means that humans will lose effective monitoring over their machines. Human Rights Watch and Harvard Law School's International Human Rights Clinic have categorically stated that the development of these machines can pose a danger to civilians during conflict and will be a breach of humanitarian law. Specifically, the concern of these human rights workers is with the protection of civilians during a battle. The project also projects that such weapon systems are only 20 to 30 years away. This report was dated 11 years ago, so while the report about killer robots in Japan may be false, the concern is completely genuine and is shared by tech gurus, human rights activists, philosophers, and international law experts. Don't miss this astonishing AI video that's guaranteed to leave you awestruck. Tune in now for a mind-blowing experience.